Hey fam. So I woke up this morning looking for the list of goals I had written down for this year, like this year 2025 that we're actually about to leave, that we're rounding up with already. I was actually looking for my list of goals because I had intentions of talking about last quarter pressure on this episode, and I've been planning for it. And I'm like, okay, I need to revisit my goals with you guys. Like, let's just talk about the goals and how far we've come. Only for me to realize that I actually do not remember where I had written down my goals. Wow. Wow, this is so much. This is not the attitude of somebody that actually intended to achieve them. The thing is, it's not like I did not intend to achieve the goals I had written down, but like when you just get caught up in the pursuit of just one of the goals that you actually literally forget that you had other goals written down. I think that was what happened to me. That is actually what happened to me. But before we go deep into that, into the goals, I need to where I'm at because I am nowhere to be found on that list. I was looking at the list and I was like, eh. So you actually had intentions of achieving all this in 365 days or what? See, we'll talk about that. But firstly, happy new month, friends. Happy new month. It's so nice to be. Is it nice? I don't know. Welcome to October. And it just feels like we're getting into the ba phase. But I mean, we got into it already from September. But October just feels closer to December. I mean, October, November, December, we're in the last quarter. Last quarter pressure is already popping it. Pop, 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 pop. Happy New Month. Today happens to be, so I'm recording, you will not believe it. I'm recording on a Wednesday. That's the day before Thursday that I'm supposed to be dropping this episode. And today happens to be October 1, which is nice. It's nice to be recording on the first day of a new month. Yeah. Yoruba people will say it signifies that like the consistency streak in the month of October will be kept. But let's see how that goes. And I'm glad. And today is the Independence Day of Nigeria as well. And that is not a good, I don't know if it's something worth celebrating because Nigeria is such an agbaya, like such a big age, 60 what? And look at the way things are moving, look at the way we're living. Nigeria is not getting any better. I was scrolling through Twitter on when, I think it was day before yesterday. I was not in a good mood and I was like, oh, you know what? Let me take an internet break and just scroll through Twitter, social media break, see if I'll see anything that would elevate my mood there. And guys, the way I was feeling that day actually got worse just from scrolling through Twitter because I kept on seeing very bad news like kidnap, robbery, death, femicide, injustice, a lot of things, like a lot of bad news. And it just felt so sad. Something that was in my routine as a last year and a year before that I'm actually trying to kick back in right now in this last quarter of the year is listening to the news. Like every morning I would listen to BBC Africa and foreign news as well. But I stopped listening at some point when I kept on hearing bad news and it just felt like they were dragging the war between Israel and Palestine. Like it felt like the UN kept on having peace talks about this wars, but nothing was being resolved. I got so discouraged. Like I got so tired of listening to the news because I tune in and it's like, oh, they're organizing a peace talk. They're going to sign a peace treaty. And the next day, I'm hearing that a bomb was dropped in Gaza. And it felt so annoying. Like, I started getting disconnected. And I felt like there was no need to listen to the news. And I feel like it's a bad thing to have. Like, it's a bad decision to make because now I have to go back to listening to the news because it's really nice to understand the things that are happening around you. I mean, yes, there are bad things, but those are the things happening. What do we want the news to report if we only have bad things happening around? So it's just good to like listen and stay informed, and I really hope I'm able to do that. But honestly, scrolling through Twitter on today's Wednesday, on Monday was really just so annoying. Just so many really bad, unpleasant news, and I'm like, which way? Nigeria, which way? You're such an agbaya. You're getting older, you're getting worse. Like nothing is improving. See, this episode is not actually about Nigeria, honestly. When you start talking about Nigeria, you just start getting angry because I would not have believed it if you had told me as a kid that, when you grow up, you're going to see a worse version of this Nigeria you're experiencing now. I would have argued it. I grew up when a song like Nigeria Jaga Jaga was raining. I grew up when we had people singing about the struggles of Nigeria. And now look where we're at. still facing the same problems. People are not really thinking about it anymore. People are just thinking about the coping mechanisms they've employed right now. But it's just sad. I don't like that I'm ranting about Nigeria. I don't like this. Yeah, so this is the Becoming You podcast where we talk about the challenges of adults and not really about the country's problem. But I mean, we're facing some of the challenges we face as adults because we were born into certain countries, circumstances, positions, families. So there's no how we talk about challenges of being adults without actually touching on these points, societal factors, and factors that we cannot control, like the country we were born in and the problems that come with having a certain nationality, actually. Whew. So that's about that. So I just remembered now that I am seated on this chair without my cup, and I need to get my cup because my throat is getting dry and I've been cold for a couple of days now. Like, the apartment has been so cold, and even with the windows locked, honestly, like, the windows are locked and yet everywhere is so cold. So give me 1 minute, let me get my cup, and I'm back with my cup. I need to get a stool. Yeah, something really nice where I could place this on because I can't continue having it in my hand. But on this episode, it's going to be in my hand. And today, I'm not asking you guys to guess because you don't guess when I ask you to guess. So I'm having like pineapple juice today. Thank you, and not thank you. I didn't say sorry, not sorry, but no, I'm not going to be doing that. Okay, as what were we saying? I think I was introducing the podcast. I think I have done that already. This is the Becoming You podcast, where we talk about the challenges of adulting. I am your host, Oluwabukola, and it's so nice to be here again on this special day. So how am I? How have I been? I've been fine. I've been struggling with voices in my head. I remember talking to my friend about my struggles, and she was like, are we going to be having this conversation every three market days? What's going on with you? So really, I've just been struggling with myself and having conversations with my friends about being out there, if I'm doing enough, if I'm doing well enough, if I have to stop, if I have to continue, just the regular conversations you have with yourself when you're trying to just understand if you're doing the right thing, if you're on the right track, if you should retrace your steps. And I asked one important question. I want you to answer this question for me if you actually have an answer to it. At what point do you decide it's high time I gave up on this? At what point do you decide to give up on something you're really passionate about when you think it's not working out? There's a thing of doing something you're passionate about, like you're not getting your desired result, but you feel like at some point it's going to click. So at what point do you move from hoping and believing that it's going to click one day to actually just understanding that probably it's never going to click? At what point do you make that decision? If you've ever ventured into a business, or if you've just ever done something that you actually thought you liked or you thought would work out for you, but it did not later work out for you, at what point do you decide to give up and not feel like you're giving up on yourself or feel like a failure? Let me know in the comment section. I don't know if my question was even clear in the very first place. You guys, I don't know how to ask direct questions. I'm always beating around the bush, but I hope you just got the main thing from what I was trying to ask anyway. Back to our conversation about goals. I almost did not record an episode for this week. I think I've said that to you guys before, but I committed myself into doing this by recording one on Sunday when I normally record episodes for the pod. I'll drop snippets of that. Okay, so this is a bit different. We're approaching the end of September, and by the time you'll be listening to the podcast or watching this video, if you're listening to the podcast on YouTube, we're going to be in October already, brah. And we're gradually approaching the end of the year and would get into the last quarter of the year very soon. And I normally record new episodes of the pod on Sundays, and today is a Sunday. I should be recording the new episode of the pod now, or should have actually recorded. But you guys, I've been going through something. I've been so blank. My mind has been so blank. I've been feeling so down, and I've been feeling so... I don't know. I'm currently in my kitchen. I'm going to get ice cream and Oreos, because when I feel sad sometimes I like taking sweet stuff, so it just helps me feel a little bit better. Yeah, and I decided to grab my mic and my phone because I just feel so restless. What do I want to talk about on this episode? That's a really important question. You guys, I have nothing in my head, but can we talk about the end of the year? Can we talk about our goals, and can we talk about how far we've gone with them? and how not being able to achieve our goals in the capacity we hope to could actually affect our entire mood and just make us feel down. Yeah, I think that's what we'll be talking about. But before we get into that, I'm sad. Yeah, I'm a bit like, I don't know if it's just sadness or just like regular depression. You guys, am I the only one that just feels like this kind of profound sadness periodically? It's not like every time, but like sometimes you just feel very sad and kind of cannot pinpoint why you feel sad, but you just know that like for a multitude of reasons you just feel some kind of way, and that's how I feel. And I'm stressed. Tomorrow is Monday. I have some things I'm working on. Then I feel bad too about like my creative mind not being very useful this weekend. And talking about goals, this year has taught me that some kind of things will humble you. It's not just about setting goals. It's not just about setting deadlines, but there are some external factors that can actually stop you from meeting your goals and make you feel like shit. Last year, I was really nailing my goals. I was really meeting all my goals, like all the goals I had set for the year. However, this year has really humbled me. Yeah, let me use that word. It has really humbled me. But did I give up on my goals? Am I feeling sad because I've been unable to achieve my goals? What do I actually mean by this year has humbled me? I guess we would know about that when I get to talk more about goals. The people, Bukola has been through a lot. Bukola is going through a lot. But talking about goals, I wanted to talk about the last quarter pressure on this episode and how we should handle it or things we should do. Not like I have direct answers or I can tell you, this is what you should do so you don't feel the pressure. I'm feeling the pressure. You would also feel the pressure. But how can we just manage the pressure that comes with rounding up the year? We'll so start hearing, oh, do lots of people. And well, that song can bring like, just the feeling of being in a celebratory mood. It also brings that feeling of what have I achieved? Like we're approaching December faster than we thought we would. This year has been very fast. This year has been moving at the speed of light. Yesterday was January. How are we already in December? December. How did we get here? No, like we're in October, sorry. You see, you guys, my brain is fast forwarding. I'm already in December. But really, how are we already like in the Baba month? It was January yesterday. Now it's like we have 3 months to achieve the rest of our goals, to make ourselves proud, to feel like, oh, we've lived a purposeful and very purpose-driven, goal-driven kind of year. And we have 3 months to get all the things we desire. But really, is 3 months enough? Like, is it possible to achieve the list of goals you actually aim to achieve or intend to achieve in these 3 months? Or are you just putting yourself under unnecessary pressure? So I found my journal where I'd written my goals for the year. I found it last night and I was reading through my goals and I was just laughing. I'm not going to tell you my goals or the goals I had written down in detail, but like, let's just go through some of them together. And I think, is it on the first page of this journal? Wait though, I'm looking for it. Yep. Still, one, getting a job, figuring out my podcast. You guys, I'm still trying to figure this podcast out. This year alone, I've thought about giving up on this podcast like 4, 5 times, 6 times, 7 times. I can't actually remember. I've lost count. But like every other day, I'm having conversations about stopping the podcast, about not understanding what I'm doing with the podcast, about try to just give up on the podcast because I feel like I'm not figuring things out. So there's another one on finishing my master's program. Okay. This was the one that made me laugh a lot yesterday. When I saw you guys, your girl was already like prepping to get married in her head. And it's 3 months to the end of the year. Wow, how do I get married? So there's this one too that I just felt like, okay. And there's also another one that I feel like some of them I'm not going to read out, of course, because I feel like they've been personal. And there's the part that I wrote just get money, get money, get money, get money. I'm still getting the money. I'm still finding the money. Never yet getting the money. I'm still finding the money. If you have like earning opportunities for me, guys, let me know. And there's one goal I actually feel like, no, before I get there, let me continue. And there's one there about learning how to ride a bicycle, learning how to swim, and learning how to drive. You know what? I feel like we overestimate the things that can be done and achieved in 365 days. And also we overestimate our capacities sometimes. Like we feel like we can get everything done. I think we should start setting, or probably I should talk to myself now. Next year, I hope I set like more realistic goals. But there's also a place of faith. There's also a place of, because if we actually dip it, all these things is actually not, it's something God can sort out in a month. Like, everything can just happen, back, and before you know, you're already like on track. But maybe we should just set realistic goals. I don't even know if that is it. Not I'm not saying like we shouldn't exercise our faith. Of course we should, but maybe we should just kind of reduce our expectations a bit so that we don't put ourselves under so much pressure, because I strongly believe we overestimate the things that can be achieved in a year. Hence, we recognize how far we've come, because we still have a lot of things we're yet to tick off the list of goals we've written down for ourselves. For instance, now you have a list of 20 goals you've written down that you intend to achieve in the year 2025. Big goals, or not small stuff, like big things that you want to achieve. And you're able to like tick off 4 from the list, or let's say 5. But because you already overestimated the things you can achieve in a year, in 365 days, the 4 you've already achieved will feel like nothing to you. Hence, you're going to underestimate what you've already done. You're going to under-recognize your efforts, under-recognize your achievement, and start feeling bad about yourself because you've not achieved 20 goals, when realistically, achieving those 20 goals was actually very impossible. Yeah, and this is something I do a lot. Let's not even talk about goals right now. Just regular, or let's say goals now, but not like the year, long-term goals, like something I intend to achieve in a whole year. I'm talking about short-term goals, like something I intend to achieve in a day, intend to achieve overnight, intend to achieve over the weekend. So it's very like me. I write down long list of things I intend to do. Actually, when I was still a student, I can say, I intend to finish reading 3 books in a day, which I know is realistically impossible. Like, how do I want to finish reading 3 books in a day? So what happens? I start reading, then I finish reading 1 book in a day, but I start feeling bad about myself. Like, I start like complaining that, I've had a very unproductive day because I was able to just read 1 book. When realistically, that is actually what can be achieved in a day. Do you understand? So I feel like we should try to, I don't know, probably this last quarter, I know you want to tick the remaining goals off your list, but be realistic about it. Like, just be realistic. Some things are actually beyond your control when it even comes to taking things off your list. Some things are quite unrealistic. There's some things you cannot do, considering how things have been going so far. So I feel like we should recognize that, and we should accept reality of things, and try not to overestimate our capacities. Try not to overestimate the things that can be achieved in the last 3 months of the year, so that you can have a very happy December. Because when you put yourself under so much pressure, when December comes, you feel sad. When December comes and you start reflecting, you feel like an underachiever because you're unable to tick off all those things from your list. Meanwhile, you've been doing just fine. Meanwhile, you're doing just great. And meanwhile, the things you've achieved are just fine. So for us to have a very peaceful, oblate kind of December, you guys, let's reduce our expectations for the last quarter of the year. The deed has been done. I'm not saying we should give up on the last quarter of the year, because a lot can still happen in the last quarter of the year. A lot can still happen. Everything can still change, turn around for the best, for the better, for good in this last quarter of the year. All I'm saying is you don't have to put yourself under so much pressure. Just take things slow. Don't sign out of the year from October. Like, why would you do that to yourself? Why would you give up on the year in October? Why would you stop applying for jobs if you're looking for a job in October? Why would you stop looking for like an admission if you're trying to get one? Or why would you stop trying to get a spouse if you're trying to get one in October? Like, November, December, this is the first day of October. There's still October, the whole of October. We have days in November as well. We have December. We still have a lot of days to go in this year. And so tell me why we should give up on ourselves already, or give up on the year already. A lot of things can still happen. Just stay strong, keep grinding, keep moving, but don't put yourself under the kind of pressure that would make you feel bad about yourself, or that will make you end the year on a very sad note. You don't want to do that to yourself. You want to really enjoy your December. You want to feel like you've achieved. You want to feel like you had a productive year, because you've done your beats, you've done your part, and there's only so much you can control. I did a content on that as well, because I realized that sometimes we have all these big goals written down, and there's there's only so much we can do. Like, most times you can actually be doing your part to tick your goals like off your list, doing the things you can do, things humanly possible for you to do. But there are just other forces, or there are just other circumstances beyond your control that are actually hindering you from achieving your goals. In situations like that, I feel like it's fine for us to acknowledge our efforts, and we should not just sulk over the things we cannot control, because adulting is a very, very tricky phase of life. Like, it's very tricky, and your happiness, like I said in the last episode, lies in your hands. So you have to be intentional about being happy. We have to be intentional about enjoying this last quarter of the year. We have to be intentional about doing what we can do and leaving the rest to God to help us sort out. We have to be intentional too about acknowledging the length or the extent of our capacity and the extent of the things we can achieve within a short period of time. Because yes, the year is 365 days, but it's not so much. Like, we've seen it come and go plenty of times. Like, we've seen it just flash before our eyes plenty of times. So it's 365 days, sometimes 366 days, but there's only so much you can achieve within that period of time. So you have to plan realistically so you don't start feeling bad about yourself. Like I said, we cannot afford to give up on the year in October. It is not over until it is over. The race is still on, so it is not over till the 31st of December. And the thing is, it's never even over, Seth. Like, even the 31st of December does not really signify an end to a process. It's just an end of a cycle, of a season, a start of a new season, 1st of January. But most times we find ourselves continuing the same cycle of things. Like, it's not like things are really changing. It's not like, it's not like anything. I don't know. When we get to December, we'll talk about the December-January transition phase, and yeah, we'll talk more about that. But honestly, it is not over. It is over. So if you're listening to this, if you're under the sound of my voice right now, and you want to sign out in October, please don't touch that dial. Don't do it. Don't do it. A lot of things can still happen. Like, I've had friends tell me testimony of how they got last minute miracle. I've had experiences, and I've had things change for me too, like just by doing something in the last quarter of the year. I remember in 2023, I took a course in December. Although I had my department and departmental courses, I took a crash course in another department and in another faculty entirely, like in a different faculty. That's like the Faculty of African Studies. Is it SEAL, Center of Eastern Asian and African American Studies? It's like a department, a faculty for African Studies and History. So I took a course there because I was really interested. We're going to talk about, like, the course was going to be about sexuality and race. So yeah, I was really interested in that course, and I took that course. And when I signed up for the course, I actually felt it was going to be a semester-long course, only to realize that the course was going to be a crash course that will be taken in December. And I was so angry when I realized that. I felt like, December, like, I'm already signed out of the year in December. Why would I be taking a crash course in December? But really, thank God I took that course, because taking the course in December helped me meet new people. And it was in that course, like, it was through that course that I met my very close friend, Brazilian friend right now. It was through that course that I met another African guy that told me about, like, no, I just met him. And it was through that course I also met a professor in the University of Berkeley that invited me for an academic exchange program, the course I took in December. So, like, sometimes you don't understand why you are doing things. You don't understand why you are still signing up for things in December, signing up for things in October, in November, but just sign up. The opportunity comes up, just take it. Don't sign out of the year, because it is not over until it is over. Don't let things pass you by because you're refusing to act on the things that are actually coming towards you, because you feel like it's the end of the year and you're not supposed to do anything. My sister, my brother, we've not made it in life yet. Only people that have made it can just give up on the year in October. We are still very much on the streets, on the hustling streets. We're still very much trying to make a name for ourselves, trying to get a living, trying to make a living for ourselves. So we have no reason to give up on ourselves right now or give up on the year just yet. So if you're under the sound of my voice and you want to give up, don't give up, don't do it. The year is still very, not young, but there's still a lot of time. There's still, like, a lot of time to get things done. Just one opportunity, just one interaction, just one connection. Leave your houses. I'm talking to myself right now, but I don't know where to go. Yeah, there's a need to actually leave our houses and meet people and talk to people, because I and my sister were talking about creativity as well yesterday. And she was telling me how some people are actually very creative. And I said, yeah, people are actually very creative. But I feel like every one of us, we all have like that creative side that we only need to explore. But the best way to explore it sometimes is by having conversations with other creatives or other people. And you'll be surprised as to how talking to one person, a conversation with a person can just, boom, open your mind, make that idea. There was a break in transmission. I got the notification that my phone memory is actually full. I don't know how to get delivered from this. Whew. But yeah, so I've lost my train of thoughts, but I'm just gonna pick it up from where I think I stopped. I was talking about us not giving up on this year and just having a very hopeful attitude, because that's how I'm going to summarize my feelings, how I feel about this last quarter of the year. I feel very hopeful. I feel like things will still happen. I feel like I'll still get good news. I feel like I'm going to have a very pleasant December. And I think one thing we can all do to probably just feel like we're on track, because it's so nice when we have this feeling that we're in control of our lives. And how can we feel like we're in control of our lives where we're actually setting goals for ourselves and we're meeting them and we feel like, everything is going smoothly. So I think one thing we can do to just kind of feel like we're in control of the last quarter a bit is to revisit our goals. Imagine me for an example now. I had written my goals down and abandoned the list because I kind of had them somewhere at the back of my head. So I kind of knew what I was aiming for and what I was trying to get. So yeah, just try to revisit your goals. Read through your goals again and see the ones that you can realistically achieve, with the remaining days we have left or with the months we have left. And some of those for me would be going back to the gym and being fit and improving my health, quality of my health, because I've been having this very serious back pain. So yeah, probably going back to the gym would help me. And I went like 2 weeks ago. I've been went. You guys, I've not gone back ever since, because the pain I felt then, I've not recovered. I'm still recovering. So yeah, it could be something as simple as going back to the gym or taking a walk. So I'm thinking of starting from taking walks after work. I feel like that would help me. That's like more realistic than gym Saturday, Sunday. Then I don't know, let's see. But yeah, you can just try, make efforts, try. You don't have to, if nobody's going to beat you if you're not consistent 100, but just try. And something else I think I really want to achieve, I don't think I can fully achieve it before the end of the year, but I want to just be on track, or just get into it before the end of the year, is get into project management. I'm thinking of pivoting, but I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know the courses to take. So if you're listening to this and you have advice for me, or you know what I can do, or you know someone that you can link me up with that would be of help, let me know, please. I'm pleading. Like, that's something I really want to get into before the end of the year as well. So revisit your goals, be realistic about your expectations as well. We have just 3 months left. You can't change the world. The world you did not change we have 12 months in a year, in 9 months. The world you have not changed in 9 months, you're not going to change it in 3 months. So be very realistic. Like, if you were unable to achieve those goals in 9 months, we were unable to achieve them in 9 months, what gives you the assurance that you do it in 3 months? I'm not disputing the fact that miracles happen. Our faith can make way for us. But all I'm just trying to say is that just be realistic about the timeline you have left. And I'm not talking about things you cannot control now, but things within your control. Pick up the small stuffs, behavioral change, changing different things you can just tweak a little bit to make you feel like you're in control of your life. Just do them. There is still time. Don't give up on the year yet. I'm not going to say the year is still young, but there's actually still time. And yeah, let's just keep moving. That's the most important thing. Never stop moving. Always, just try to ensure you're doing something, no matter how small you think it is, towards achieving that smallest goal on your list. Just try to do something. Try to move. Try to be on the move. Try to not stop moving, because I feel like that's just a dangerous spot to be in, when you just give up on everything and just stay in your corner. And yeah, that's like a very dangerous place to be in. Just try, and the Lord will give us the strength we need to keep on moving, because it's easy to say move, but there are times that you are fighting with factors that are even actually stopping you from moving. I really just pray we find the strength to keep on moving, and we all have like a productive last quarter, and by the time we'll be coming together to Oblate in December, we have like smile on our faces, and we all have very eventful celebration. And remember that Jesus is the reason for the season. You guys, I'm already in December already. Can we have Christmas already? I can't wait. But yeah, that's all on today's episode. Whew, I really hope you enjoyed it. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and tell a friend to tell a friend that there's a podcast where they talk about the challenges of adulting. And yep, thank you guys, and bye bye. Catch you on the next episode of The Port. Ciao.